Okay, today we're going to do something a little different. We are going to deconstruct a single super specific job advertisement. And our goal here isn't just to figure out what the job is, but to really get into the mind of the person it's absolutely perfect for. It's a really fascinating peek into a hidden corner of the scientific world.
So let's just pause for a second. If you saw a job posting for a pipette calibration technician, what would even come to mind? I mean, it's a title that sounds incredibly precise, super technical, and let's be honest, for most of us, it's a bit of a mystery. So let's break that down.
And here it is in its full glory, hands-on service and calibration technician, pipettes. Now, every single word you see here was chosen for a reason. And trust me, by the end of this, that title isn't just going to make sense, you're going to understand the entire philosophy behind the role.
To really get this job, you first have to understand the world it lives in. This isn't your average office gig. It's a very specific, niche opportunity that exists within a highly specialized environment.
So the company is a top-tier manufacturer of lab equipment, and it's located in the southeastern suburbs. What does that tell you? Right away, you know we're dealing with a serious, established player in the world of science and research. This is an industry where precision isn't just a nice-to-have, it's the absolute baseline.
Okay, so we've got the where, but what about the what? What is this person actually doing all day long? Let's dive into the core responsibilities.
The entire job, the absolute heart of it, boils down to this: pipette calibration. You know that little tool scientists use to move tiny, exact drops of liquid? That's a pipette. And calibrating it is kind of like tuning a guitar before a huge concert. You have to make sure that when it's supposed to dispense exactly 1 microliter, it isn't off by the tiniest fraction. Because in science, that tiny fraction can make a whole experiment completely useless.
So the daily workflow is basically this 3-step dance of precision. First, you test the equipment, you do the calibration. Second, you make sure it lines up perfectly with a whole bunch of incredibly strict standards. We're talking Australian, international, and NADA, which is the big national authority for lab accreditation. And third, you write it all down in super detailed technical reports. It's this constant loop of testing, checking, and recording.
Now that we know what the job is, let's get to the really interesting part. Who is the perfect person for this job? This is where the ad stops being just a job description and becomes more of a psychological profile. So as we go through these next few points, I want you to ask yourself honestly, does this sound like me?
Okay, now check this out. The ad doesn't lead with, "You need a PhD or 5 years of experience." Nope. It starts with a question about passion. It asks if you love attention to detail. This tells you they're not just looking for someone who can put up with being precise. They want someone who gets a real, genuine kick out of it. And then they double down. A satisfaction so real that the very idea of it is what appeals to you. See what they're doing? They're digging into your motivations. They are actively searching for a specific kind of person, someone who's just naturally wired to want things to be exactly right. And here it is, the final piece of the personality puzzle. Do you thrive on routine and repetition? You know, for a lot of people, that's a huge red flag, but for the right person, for this specific role, it's the #1 feature. This job is all about doing the same exact process perfectly over and over again. Here, consistency isn't boring, it is everything.
So we've basically built the personality profile, but what about the professional skills? The stuff you'd put on a resume? Well, this is where the job ad makes a really surprising and very telling point about what this industry actually values.
Look at this. The ad comes right out and says it. Experience is more important than tertiary qualification. That is huge. They are flat out telling you they would rather hire someone with a proven history of doing careful, hands-on work than someone with a fancy degree but no real-world proof of their attention to detail. It shows that in these specialized fields, what you can do often matters more than what you've studied.
So what they mean by experience really translates into these practical skills. You need great report writing skills because, as we saw, documenting your results is a huge part of the job. You have to have a quality-focused mindset that's non-negotiable. And of course, you've got to be able to communicate well and keep up with the pace of a professional lab.
All right, so how does this all wrap up into the actual job offer? We know the what, the who, and the how. Now let's look at the terms of the deal itself.
The job starts out as a 6-month temporary role. But, and this is the crucial part, the ad makes it clear there's an opportunity for it to go permanent for the right candidate. So what is this? It's a 6-month paid audition. It's the company saying, come in, show us you're that detail-obsessed person who thrives on routine, and we've got a permanent spot waiting for you.
And this just seals the deal on their whole approach. They don't just send you to some faceless, anonymous online application form. They give you a name, Peter Horsfall, and a phone number. They actually want to talk to you. They're looking for a person, not just a piece of paper.
So, we've just unpacked a single job ad and found an entire world inside it, a world of incredible precision, of very specific personalities, and of work that is absolutely critical to science. And it kind of makes you wonder, doesn't it? What other vital, fascinating jobs are out there, just hiding in plain sight, keeping our world ticking along, just waiting for that one perfect person to find them?